I wanted to make a video about poverty traps, but YouTube, in all its wisdom and glory, prefers tier lists. The algorithm prefers searching out that sort of thing, so I thought I'd make a tier list of poverty traps. Woo! So the way we're ranking it is S is something we can totally solve, and D is something you have no control over. It's more of a systemic thing than a personal thing. If you want to know what a poverty trap is by textbook definition, then there's a great article on Investopedia I've got here. I'll leave a link in the description. So, let's get started. Now, the thing about alcohol is it's part of culture. In the UK, it's seen as the thing you do when you grow up and become a man. You start drinking alcohol. You go to the pub with your father and have a pint. And it's the same in a lot of other countries, like in America and Australia and Canada and France and Mexico and most countries, actually. It's one of these things that it can be a poverty trap in the sense that you can get addicted. It's an addictive substance. It's used to control people just through economic means. And there's a great video by Kraut the Parrot about how vodka ruined Russia. It's a great in-depth history thing, but I'll let you watch that in your own spare time. I mean, if you're constantly drunk or hungover and you're constantly buying booze, then you're spending all your money and you're not going to get organised enough to get yourself together. Now, there are notable exceptions. You can technically get yourself together. It can boost creativity with certain people, but generally speaking, it's going to be a big waste of money. I admit there is quite a large social aspect to it, and that's how a lot of people socialise, that's how they interact with other people in their spare time, and that just feels like it's great, it's fun, but at the same time it's almost like trauma bonding, you know? So, on a systematic level, it's difficult to get out of, but on a personal level, it is something that can be done. You can use this as an excuse to stop drinking, to try and get yourself to the next level. So with that, I think we should put it in the S tier, because it's really easy to get rid of. So, the next one we're going to cover is spending on high-priced brands. And in theory, spending more money generally gets you a better product because you're paying more money for the high quality and the reputation the brand gives it. But now, brands are used more of a status symbol than a mark of quality. And for poor people, it's a great way to show how wealthy they are. There's an old Ed Byrne joke when they talk about the working class people that have the biggest TV possible to show how much money they've got. But the middle class people just don't have a TV in the house. They don't need it. It's connected to spending cash or how you spend your spare time, then big brands are still a real money sink. And it is something that you can use to show that you're affluent, but most posh people don't wear posh clothes. They get paid to wear them. It's not the other way around where they pay money to get the clothes. Not everybody's going to get a sponsor deal or a brand partnership, but I do think that saving money on these sort of brands and can help you theoretically save more money, and it's something you can use to improve your life, but I don't think it's a poverty trap that's difficult to get rid of per se. So I think we're going to have to give it another S tier. Well, it can be useful in social settings, and if you're not wearing the right clothes, I think it might be a crutch that people use to give themselves confidence as well in an interview. If you're wearing the correct clothes, if you're wearing the right suit, then it can make you feel more confident in when you speak and what you do. So we'll put it in A tier for now. So the next one's investing in crypto. Now, when I say investing in crypto, I'm going to cover NFTs and all the other scams that are involved with that sort of thing. It's been the same salesman selling different scams for the past 40, 50 years. And I think that's going to be one that you can avoid before you get dragged down. So I'm going to put that in the A tier for now. But the problem is, if you've already got involved with it, once you've came out the other side, if you lost your money, then at least learn the lessons of not to get scammed. The problem is there's all these people that are always promising get-rich-quick schemes, and in reality that's not a thing that exists. If it did, then everybody would be rich and then the value of money would go down. That's not how the economy works. So don't get suckered in. These people that say, oh, if you pass a seminar, I'll teach you the skills to do X, Y, and Z. That leads me on to the next part, which is the cynical person in me says that universities are a scam, but in reality, it's a way to learn skills. It's a way to socialize and get the connections of people that are fellow-minded and want to be in the same industry as you. And a bit of healthy competition helps promote your incentive to learn. Yes, you can learn lots of things online. The internet in the past 20 years has pretty much revolutionized education. And if you have the willpower, if you know where to look, and you're willing to work hard enough to put something on a CV or a resume, then you can totally get yourself educated without getting into student debt. Now, the problem is if you don't go to university, you need a really good portfolio or a really good resume to say, I have experience, I know what I'm doing in this. And even then, someone with a degree might have an advantage, but I'll show you this thing I saw. I'll leave the link down as well. Berkeley Institute for Young Americans. Millennials, the most educated generation. I just wanted to show this graph because, don't know, yeah, you guys can see it here. I'll get out of the way. Basically, it doesn't matter how well educated you are. If you don't have the right connections, you're not going to get a good job. The competition is so high at the moment that to get a job based on your education is getting less and less powerful. You have to have different X factors to boost yourself apart from everybody else that's applying for the same job. And employers are using this and they're exploiting this to force people with 5 years experience to work a close to minimum wage job just because the competition's so high. So when politicians brag about unemployment being low, that's not always a good thing, because it's not always good jobs that people are employed in. So with that in mind, let's go back to the tier list. I think we'll put education in... We'll put it in B tier, because it is something that's difficult to get out of. And if you already got student debt, which I know most Americans have, then you're out of luck. I think that leads me on to another point, which is mental health. And I'll put cost of healthcare in there as well. Just wrap it up in a single bow. Like, your mental health is something that's very important. You need to address the issues. You've got to have any chance of propelling yourself forward. This can be anything from motivation to depression to 100 other different things. And if you don't have the resources to get that sorted, then it's going to be, or at least address the situation, and it's going to be more and more difficult for you to get out of the poverty trap. It's just going to be a cycle of unmotivated, can't find a job, applying for jobs, get demotivated because no one's picking up. It can be bad. So on a personal level, mental health is something you can address and fix. But on a systematic level, if your environment doesn't have places for good healthcare that are affordable, then you're at a disadvantage, and that's a poverty trap in itself. If you get spiraling medical bills, you're not going to be able to get up to the second rung of the ladder. So with mental health, I'll put it in C tier, because it is difficult to get out of that sort of thing. And not just monetarily, but if you don't have the time or you don't have the resources, then it's pretty much impossible. Now, the next thing is location, where you were born. I'll be honest with you, it's a bit of a lottery. If you're born in the right place at the right time, then you're going to have the best advantage in the world to make sure you don't get into a poverty trap. And it's very difficult from, let's just say you're in a third world country like Newcastle, it's very difficult to get out of that sort of place and get yourself to the next level. So you're going to be stuck in paying rent and then not going to be able to afford a mortgage.
Paying rent is basically a tax because I've got no choice but to pay it.
No, because you've got the choice of getting a mortgage instead, and that the person who has bought the properties has invested capital to buy it, and capital must have a return.
I am what's called a captive market there.
Well, I think we're going to have to finish on that note next time.
So yeah, I'd say that's totally D tier. That's the most difficult thing to get out of. If you're born in the wrong place, to the wrong family, with the wrong connections, then you've got no chance. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.